Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to another session on polity and constitution. I hope I am audible as well as visible. Let's wait for those to join and then we'll begin our discussion for the day. Okay, let's begin now. Others will keep on joining. Vijay Raghavan, in a single amendment, any number of articles can be modified 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, 200. It does not really matter. A single amendment can introduce multiple articles, can modify multiple articles at the same time. Clear? Okay. Sandeep, power of CM acts as vice chairman. We'll discuss this under center-state relations. It's simply a statement. What is the explanation here? He is a member of a body called Interstate Council, Zonal Council, and also Interstate Council, right? These are two bodies of which he's a member of. He's also a member of Niti Aayog. Now, that can be seen as a par or otherwise as well. Okay. Tushar, when did this happen? When did this happen? I have no idea of this happening. Please don't make statements of something happening in the country. Shargun, absolutely not. Ashay, writs are orders issued by courts to protect your fundamental rights. That's a writ. Judicial review is the checking of legislative and executive action on the grounds of constitutional validity. That if a law or an executive order is constitutionally valid or not, that's called judicial review. It's different from writ. Anushka, one person from amongst the members is made the vice chairperson. Tarun, it is your first class. Really? Oh, I saw. Are there multiple Taruns? Of course, possible. Vishwanath, what is petition? Sir, English words meaning sir. Google, sir. I know you have paid full money to avail services, but word meanings in the class? Request filed in the court. Petition. Okay, when you file a case in the court, that's a petition. Yes, Prem Kumar, thank you for the update. Rohit, if he or she has been the High Court judge earlier, of course they can. Achal will discuss that later on under Article 370, not right now. Yes, Venu, you can. Okay, Tarun. So there are two Taruns. Let's hope we have two different Taruns. Ganga, you'll have to talk to the SMEs. They'll respond to what is the step required. Uh, oh, three Taruns. Okay. Let's move on from Taruns. Is additional. No. These are two different officers. Mail to IS Live. Okay, Ganga. Somebody has responded. Mail to IS Live. Kostu, can we have the say that? Yes, we can, but actually, advisory jurisdiction, whatever statements are made by courts during an advice, it is not binding on the government. So, calling it an area of influence or power is not very appropriate. Though books sometimes loosely categorize this also as the power, but this is not actually a power, right? But yes, in that sense, that can other courts do it? No, they cannot. Vaishnavi, so where should I ask? IS classes. Sandeep. Oh, please explain. Okay. Politico-administrative system. It's a system where you have the permanent and the political executive working in tandem. So, on one hand, you have the ministers who are elected by people directly or indirectly, right? And on the other hand, you have the bureaucracy which also performs the task. So, together, Aishwarya, for different kind of things, we have different kinds of lok adalats. So if a lok adalat is there for banking problems, then experts in the field of banking. If it's for traffic challans, then experts in that area. Anushka, as I said, one of the members, judicial or administrative, becomes a vice chairman of the tribunal. So whatever is the qualification of administrative members, the judicial members will be a qualification for the vice chairperson. Sandeep, controversial topic, sir. Let the internal security faculty deal with the topic. No. Dangerous. In the current context, especially. Very dangerous to discuss controversial topics. Ashay, in the book Indian Constitution. Ashay, political theory has got nothing to do with class. Is it possible that I can suggest to you something that may not have relevance for of what I'm teaching in the class? Possible, right? Political theory is one such book, right? It has got no relevance to what we are studying in the class. It is completely separate. It has the same concepts but explained in a more generic fashion, which can help you in answer writing. Anyway, there is no compulsion to read the book. You are free to read whatever books you want to read. I just give advice. If you feel that Indian constitutional work is way more important a book, which has way more detailed concepts which you can never get anywhere, go for it. Who is stopping you? Right? Yes, Ananya. It's okay. Perfect. Venu, yes, that is actually a Lok Adalat. It happens in Delhi also. It happens in now Bangalore also. Gayatri locus standi means the people who are impacted or affected are the ones who approach the court. Clear? That is called locus standi. Uh, Lok Adalats have experts? No, not really. Lok Adalats are just places where compromise is achieved. So experts there may not be of any relevance, frankly. Okay, guys, should we begin now? Uh, okay. Ashay now says, let's move on. Of course, Ashay. I was just waiting for you only to make this statement. I was wondering why Ashay is not saying this. We are all waiting for you, sir. Thankfully, you have given us the permission. Other people's doubts can wait. Uh, Shubham, the point is that members elected continue for 6 years. Pooja, there is no salary because the job is not permanent. It's on a day-to-day basis. It's more like the salary of attorney general. If you remove the retainer, what is his salary? On a case-to-case basis. More cases, more salary. Uh, Impact of reservation. Now, this is a topic better understood in your uh, classes with respect to social issues, wherein the idea is that it will provide more, see, some nice things about reservation right now that we'll be witnessing in future would be providing more choice to voters, right? It will allow more flexibility to parties to choose candidates, constituencies, right? And then, of course, allowing also flexibility in number of women in the parliament, bringing their voice in the parliament. Beyond that, the idea of such reservations is to ensure that the politics also becomes gender neutral, making women participants in decision making. Okay. Yashi, PILs, the more the scope for PILs. What is a PIL? The idea being that anybody can approach the court now. Earlier, only those people whose rights were getting violated had to go to court. Now anybody can. This means that if I also approach the court for the rights of somebody else, this would mean what? This would mean that the courts can now take that statement, take my case, and interfere in other domains, asking the executive legislature to perform their functions. Okay. Do we have two Sandeeps also? Why two Sandeeps are writing at the same time two very diverse questions? Can center explain? No, no, sir, that's not possible. Saptarshi, right now, you have to understand that once this proposal comes into place, it'll take some time. Things will not happen immediately. It'll take some time because, firstly, the very first point is going to be that we need what? We need the next census to be conducted. When the next census is conducted, then we'll find out the new number of seats after the new delimitation, and then we'll see what kind of policies to incorporate and how to make corresponding changes. We'll simply add it with the scheduled castes and scheduled tribe reservation in the same provision that you have. Okay, let's now begin our discussion for today. Moving on to our Asha, examples of PILs are very difficult to understand. Sir, example is difficult to understand. Then what can I do, sir? Okay. Now let's begin with the standard provision. 5 questions for the day. Starting with the very first question, please mark the answer. Oh, interesting. A lot of you marked C. As per Judges Inquiry Act, if a judge does not recuse himself from a case involving conflict of interest, it can become one reason for removal. Really? What is the reason to remove a judge? Tell me. What is the reason, the ground to remove a judge? Two words are mentioned. Only two words. Without any definition. Misbehavior, incapacity. If that is not happening, sorry. Simple. So this may not be a ground mentioned. Having a prior or personal association with a party involved, yes, that is actually recusal. So 2 is correct because we want fairness, we want principles of natural justice. Nobody shall be a judge in their own case. Great, amazing. Moving on to the second question now. Please mark the answer. Okay, great. Constitution of India has given the power to Supreme Court to hear a petition as an appeal even if the High Court refuses to grant certificate for appeal. What is that called? It is mentioned in this line only. Special leave petition, SLP. Write the article quickly. Article, please. SLP is a discretionary power and cannot be claimed. Of course, it can't be claimed as a matter of right. It is a discretionary power. Both are correct. Absolutely correct, guys. Amazing. Article is 136. Good job. Both are correct. D is the answer. Don't mark C in a hurry because here C was neither 1 nor 2. Okay. Just pathetic ways to trap some innocent people into marking the wrong answer. Now, third question. Read carefully and mark the answer. Okay. capital punishment passed by a trial court cannot be executed without the concurrence or the approval or the permission of which court? The High Court. Right? Assertion is wrong. A is wrong. A is wrong. A is wrong. D has to be the answer. Simple. Simple, straightforward question. Nothing needs to be done. You just need to know one fact. Now, India has a pyramidal integrated judicial structure that provides for control of High Court over the subordinate one. Of course, this is correct. It has to be correct. Right? It's a hierarchy. Integrated judiciary. Moving on to the fourth question for today. Please mark the answer. Okay, easy question. Great. Incorrect, firstly. The senior most judge of Supreme Court should be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. Is correct. Mandatory for the president to consult CJI is correct. Only a citizen can become a judge is correct. There is no minimum age prescribed in the constitution. Okay. C is the right answer. And last question for the day. Please arrange the following. Fair enough. Arrange the following courts in a decreasing order of hierarchy. High courts have to be at the top. The answer could never be this or this. Yes or no? Decreasing order. It had to be one B or C. High court at the top, Munsif court at the lowest level. So one first, two last, 1, 3, 4, 2. Clear? Simple. That is why being very active, applying your mind is very important when solving questions. Okay. Now, done for the day. Let's move on and discuss the problems in the working of tribunals. Yes. Don't worry. Leaderboard will be shown immediately. Nikhil, Pooja, Dudekula, Pallavi, Maria, Basanti, Khushi, Kartikeyan, Anurag, Shailja, Kumari Shruti, Kumari Shubhangi. Okay, so we have a lot of people at the top. Manigandan, Ritu, Kartik, Shahid, Fayaz, Ruchita, Kamlesh, Shubha, Sushant, Parma, and I'm sure there will be others also, but sadly because of the speed issue, we have these top 20 people. Great. So, a lot of you got all five correct. I hope there is no overlap in the weekend batch and the weekday batch, because I believe I gave the same question in the weekend batch also. So I hope it's all fair, right? Because sometimes if something is very, very good to be true, it actually is. Today's performance seems to be amazingly good to be true. Anyway, okay. Next week we'll have a complete revamp of all the questions. Now, coming back, great guys, good performance. All those who have worked hard, now see, slowly and steadily, you're moving up the ladder. And even if not a rank, you are at least getting 4 or 5 correct. That means you're putting in the effort, frankly. It's as simple as that. So in the first few days, even now for answer writing, some of you have this doubt that, writing answers, I can't understand anything, etc. The same issue. Keep on practicing. After 5 answers, if you want to have an improvement, that may not be possible. So at least 50, 60 answers, right? Okay. Great. Now coming back to our discussion at hand, a small topic left. We'll finish this and then we'll move on to elections. So, problems in the working of tribunals. We had discussed the first 2 points. Coming to the third point, independence is compromised. See, take the example of CAT. A very simple example of CAT. If you look at the membership of CAT, CAT comprises of members who are what? Members who are civil servants. Now, who is going to complain to CAT? Tell me. Who is going to complain to CAT? Civil servants. And if a civil servant is a member there, then where is the fairness? A government employee goes and complains in CAT, where a civil servant is a member, a retired IS officer or an IS officer who always owes his allegiance towards government only, then where is the equal, where is the fairness? That's a big problem, right? So CAT, the members are civil servants. Then allegations of corruption. That's also a case. Allegations of corruption that do take place. Uh, there have been various such cases where somebody has gone to the office, gone to the CAT. Why? Because he retired, say, 2 years back. Pension is not being released. Gratuity is stuck. And when he goes to CAT, the CAT member says, "Give me some money. I'll give an award in your favor." These are allegations. Just a couple of years back, one allegation came to light that this fellow said that my gratuity, around 20 lakh rupees, was stuck, and he had approached the CAT to complain. One CAT member had told him that if you pay me 2 lakh rupees, you'll get your gratuity. I'll give an award in your favor immediately. Now, these are allegations, but again, allegations of corruption that do take place. Then, vacancies. Vacancies, delays in the appointment. Just in CAT itself, 66%, two-thirds seats are vacant. So across the country, in various tribunals, more than 240 seats are vacant across the country in the tribunals. That's a very big number, if you think of it. A very, very big number where seats are vacant. Then finally, lack of infrastructure. In most cases, you'll find that CAT, they maintain their website, which is never updated, unavailable, non-existent, unresponsive, etc. So infrastructure also is very poor with respect to these tribunals. And there has also been this allegation overall that governments try to create more tribunals because they want to usurp, take over the power of judiciary. So we have a phrase for it that's called tribunalization. Tribunalization, encroachment of judicial functions. Encroachment over judicial functions by the tribunal. But these are not very good allegations, frankly, because we don't see the government's intention ever being this. And ultimately, our tribunal's award is challenged in High Court also. So we don't find merit in this allegation, at least, that, that's the reason for tribunals, that the government wants to have judicial powers also with itself. Anyway, so these are the problems pertaining to tribunals. Now, a couple of years back, in 2021, government brought an ordinance. Later on, it replaced the ordinance with a proper bill which was passed and is now a law. So we are discussing that law. So the government said we want to bring a reform in tribunals. Tribunal Reforms Act was passed. So it was observed by the government that there are certain tribunals in the country where nobody approaches. Tribunals, some cases are lying vacant, they are lying pending there, and people don't really approach also. Plus, to maintain those tribunals, it's additional money and cost. And anyway, if the tribunal gives an award, the matter will be challenged in High Court. So the government abolished 9 different types of appellate tribunals: airport appellate tribunal, appellate board, AAR, FCAT. So FCAT is a tribunal where you approach if the CBFC. What is CBFC? Central Board for Film Certification, which is popularly called the censor board. Though the censor word is incorrect, but am I audible and visible, guys? Bharti, you have to refresh. Somebody is telling me that my voice is not clear. Please refresh. Experts, please tell them they have to refresh, not me. Okay. Okay. So yes, CBFC. So if at any point of time you want to get your movie uh, released in theaters for public exhibition, that's what we call, under the Cinematograph Act, you have to get a certificate approval, and then based on what content is there, you are given a rating or a certificate accordingly. So you have various certificates like U, UA, A, R, universal access, universal under adult supervision, adult restricted access. Various certificates are given based on what your movie is. If you don't like the certificate, if you don't like the certificate, then you can appeal to FCAT and say that why have my movie such a nice, neat and clean movie? Why is my movie not given UA or U certificate? Why has it been given A certificate, etc.? All these things can be done. But now it's no longer there because the government found that nobody goes to FCAT. They all go to High Court. So what's the point? Now, one more change. The change was in the way the members are being appointed now. So, firstly, the members of the tribunals various tribunals like CAT, TDSAT, NCLAT, DRT, etc. In these tribunals, the members will be appointed by a committee now. The appointment will be done by the government only, but there will be a committee which will recommend names. SC. Prem Kumar, it is just like any other law. If the law that they are implementing allows for punishments, they can impose punishments. Simple. Punishments are always on discretion of the judiciary. So, will be done by a SCSC, Search Cum Selection Committee. This SCSC will comprise of the Supreme Court of India Chief Justice, right? Two secretaries who are chosen by the central government, sitting or outgoing chairperson or a retired Supreme Court judge or a retired Chief Justice of High Court. So whoever is a sitting or outgoing chairman will also be a part of the committee. And secretary of the ministry under which the tribunal is there, but he has no voting right. This group will recommend some names to the government for the appointment. Clear? Now, this committee will forward two names. If there is one vacancy, for every vacancy, two names. For example, currently, let's say in CAT, there are 42 seats vacant out of 69. So for every one vacant seat, two names will be sent. Now here comes a catch. When those two names come to the government would take a decision preferably within 3 months. No, what's the meaning of preferably within 3 months? If I ask you, please study, and you say, preferably I'll study, preferably I'll write the answers by the end of this week. What does this mean? Never. This will mean never only, actually, in your case. Same thing here. What is this preferably? But if the committee has given you two names, appoint one. That's the purpose of the committee. But this word preferably, very strange and weird, right? That even if names come, the government may choose not to appoint any name. Anyway, moving on. Now, a very unique change was made that to be a member of tribunal, a minimum age has been set now. Minimum age. I mean, this is something we have not seen in any place. I mean, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, in the case of judiciary or those bodies which have judicial powers, there is no minimum age, right? So why suddenly 50 years as minimum age? Makes no sense. What is so magical that happens at 50? At 49, you have no brains, only what to do. 50, oh, suddenly I'm all enlightened. That's not, I mean, that's very weird. And think of it. In the high courts, judges are appointed usually before 50. So normally 45 is a conventional age where judges are appointed in the high courts. And tribunals awards can be challenged in the high court. If in the high court a person can be appointed below 50, then what's the problem here? Are we clear? So this is a very serious concern, that why suddenly has the government added a cutoff age of 50? It makes no sense. Now, beyond this, one more point. The tenure of chairpersons, tenure has been reduced and the retirement age has been increased. Tenure means the period of service. That's called tenure. And retirement age is the age at which you retire. So this has been reduced, this has been increased. Same for members. And now you are eligible for reappointment also. Look at this. Basically, if the tenure has been reduced, right? Now, after 4 years, if you perform very well meaning we know what, giving all the awards in the favor of government only, the government says reappointment. If you don't perform well, get lost. Useless fellow. Sincere employee. Hate you. This is a very old Supreme Court judgment. It's not a very popular one, but it was a very, very important judgment, SP Sampath Kumar case, where Supreme Court had said that we should never reduce tenure of important functionaries. It violates their independence. Reducing the tenure of tribunal members is directly challenging a Supreme Court judgment, which clearly says that we should never reduce tenures because a long fixed tenure gives stability to the person there. He is free from government's control. That is why longer tenures are preferred as a mark of independence. But sadly, here the government has reduced it. Now comes the interesting part. Please hear me out very, very carefully what I'm going to tell you. I just said that this Tribunal Reforms Act was originally brought as an ordinance. So it was brought as an ordinance. What happened next? This ordinance was challenged in the Supreme Court. Okay, Supreme Court cancelled some provisions. Which provisions? This provision was cancelled. This provision was cancelled. And these provisions were cancelled by Supreme Court, saying this is unconstitutional. Fair enough. When the parliament reassembled, the exact same ordinance was brought in the form of bill. And this was passed also. Now, please tell me one simple question. Answer it. When the Supreme Court had cancelled certain provisions of the ordinance as unconstitutional, do you think the government should have brought the exact same ordinance as a bill with the original provisions intact? Tell me. Of course not. It is not proper. You have just been told by court that these are unconstitutional. Don't bring it. But the government brought the exact provisions again without paying heed to the Supreme Court judgment. It's like to hell with the judgment. And then this matter is pending in the court now. So the provision with respect to tenure and minimum age which were introduced via ordinance were struck down by Supreme Court. This was the Madras Bar Association case. Of 2021. But anyway, when this bill was brought, it was passed in the parliament. Again, it has been challenged in the court. But you know very well, the court is slightly busy discussing important matters. So this bill, this matter is still pending in the court. Maybe judgment will come after maybe 10-15 years of course. When a court finds time, why to make any such comment? We never know, right? So maybe when I'm teaching your kids, then I can say that, you know, when your parents were studying, this was still pending. Now judgment has come finally. Maybe possible. Why to make any comment on judiciary? Contempt of court is there, right? So this is now a matter which is pending in the court. Issues with the proposal. Short tenure of members along with the provisions of reappointment increase the influence and control of the executive or the judiciary, which means tribunals. And all those who are enjoying this, you will realize it later on that you only are going to approach the cat to complain. Okay. And there, when the cat gives an order against you in favor of government, then we'll see all the people supporting the government will then realize, oh, huge mistake. Anyway, then the provision of minimum age of 50 years. Again, it forms a restrictive qualification. Remember this? We discussed something like this when we were studying a chapter called Panchayats. Restrictive qualification, like two-child policy, education qualification, having a functional toilet, etc. Right? This is also one such restrictive qualification. What is so magical at the age of 50? Nothing happens apart from you celebrating your 50th birthday. Right? Silver, golden, diamond jubilee nonsense. Nothing beyond that. It is nothing special. but somehow the government feels it's an amazing achievement in life that you have crossed 50. Then abolishing certain existing tribunals and transferring their functions to high courts is only going to increase the burden on the high courts. When you increase the burden on high courts, there are 60 lakh or 61 rather 60.77 lakh cases pending in the high courts. But anyway, 1,000 more cases. How does it matter to the high courts? Anyway, as if there is any pressure on them to solve those cases. No problem. It's like Hindu newspaper. 5 days it's piled up in your house. 10 more days paper is piled up. No problem. Combine, club all of them and sell it after a few months. You'll get 30-40 rupees. Eat some ice cream with that. That's the agenda here. Just to summarize, the Supreme Court is yet to decide whether the Tribunal Reforms Act is unconstitutional for reenacting those provisions that were struck down in the Madras Bar Association case for violating the independence of the judiciary. So, when the judgment comes, amend the slide. That is why I had mentioned the old provisions. Because what if this is cancelled? What if? Then the old provision will kick in. Clear? That's it. We are done with the judiciary. LEJ over. Most important elements of our discussion are done. Just one very important element is left, and that is fundamental rights. We'll discuss them later on. So over the course of next few days, we'll be covering a lot of small topics. Now, I won't say they are not important for the examination, but yes, not many questions are asked from those topics. But before that, one important topic, elections, we'll cover, and then we'll enter the domain of smaller topics. Before that, one simple question, solve this question. Sir, should we write allegations? Yes, you can write that, no problem. And you can also mention that how it is not true. How far do you agree with the view that tribunals curtail the jurisdiction of ordinary courts? In view of the above, discuss the constitutional validity and the competency of tribunals in India. How far do you agree with the view that tribunals curtail jurisdiction of ordinary courts? Not really. So, now see, all of you know how to write the answer, intro, body, conclusion. But such kind of questions are not one question. There are three questions in this. How far do you agree? Discuss the constitutional. See, question number 1 is this. Question 2 is this. And question 3 is this. We can here do what? 3-paragraph approach. A unique way to write the answer. No intro, body, conclusion. 3-para approach. In the first paragraph, paragraph 1, address this point, that are tribunals, or is there actually any tribunalization happening? No, not really. After the L. Chandrakumar judgment, I mean, all the cases go to the high courts, yes or no? They go. So we cannot really say that the court's jurisdiction has been curtailed. So here, mention the L. Chandrakumar judgment of 1997. In the second paragraph, talk about what? Constitutional validity. Okay. This we'll talk about Article 323, capital A, capital B, the Part 14A, 42nd Amendment Act, all the drama mentioned this here. And in Para 3, mention the competency, the advantages, and the issues pertaining to tribunals. 3-paragraph approach, a very unique way to answer questions. Sometimes this can also be used. So this creates a sense of uh, distinction between your answers and some other people's answers. And in your notebook also, when the evaluator reads all your answers uh, and constantly finds out that you are using the same intro body conclusion, then suddenly a three paragraph approach is a very unique way. Megha, madam, what is the problem? Sir, yesterday we was doing this question already. No, madam, yesterday we did not do this question. What is happening? You have mentioned this. I thought I'll ignore it, but you are constantly writing this. No, madam, we did not do this yesterday. The question was mentioned. We skipped it. No idea what is happening in the class. Okay. So because we had not seen tribunals, that is why we did not do this question yesterday. Okay, I think one small concern. When I say paragraph approach, I don't mean write in paragraphs. Answer in points only. Points. 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 But use three paragraphs to write. Okay? And it's not intro body conclusion. So we need not follow small intro, large body, slightly smaller conclusion format. Here depends on the type of question you are writing. First paragraph could be here, say 70 words. Second para could be say 60 words or even 50 words. And third paragraph could be 130 words. Possible. So this is the advantage of a three paragraph approach when your question has multiple questions. Are we clear? No, no, don't write this heading. Not required. No, not this. Are we clear? Did we understand this? Will we try to incorporate this in answer writing? So right now is the time to experiment. Please don't experiment in the examination hall. Experiment beforehand. Yes, yes, Bhagya. Absolutely. Okay. That's it. We are done. Moving on with the important articles and the corresponding chapters. So firstly, I think I did mention that from Lakshmikant, in case anybody is following Lakshmikant, you can study chapter 26 to 29 because 30 is where you have the governor. 29. Then chapters 34 to 36. Okay. Important cases. Of course, the judge's case. All the four judges' case. We should know what was said in which case, including the popularly fourth one, which is the NJAC case. Right? Then, under PILs, my request would be mug up everything as much as you can. As many PILs as you can. Okay? Number 3, L. Chandrakumar. 97 and Madras Bar Association case of 2021. Now coming to important articles. Starting with Article 124, then 129 is important, 130 is important, 131 is important, 136 is important, 137 is important. Then 139 capital A is important, 142 is important, 143 is important, Then 215 is important. 217, we should know what is there. Okay. Beyond that, one more, 32. Though we'll discuss 32 later on, and 226 also later on, but still I'm mentioning it here for you. Then those two articles, 233 and 234. Then Article 121, the conduct of the judiciary cannot be questioned in the parliament or cannot be discussed in the parliament. And then 323 capital A and 323 capital B. Important articles. 145, not really. I mean, we know the constitutional bench, what it means. Megha, I see the video yesterday. It was explained. Okay. Of the which issues? What issue? Random issues. Now, again, Ashay, that is why, sir, if you had paid attention to what I was saying from day one, this question would not have come. I think you've asked this question multiple times. So, again, for all of you, when I mention these important articles, the purpose is to read those articles from the what? Original constitution, right? So download a PDF and read from there just to get an idea of the legal language used. You know the meaning, the legal language used. Slowly and steadily, if you keep on reading it again and again, you get a hang of how to write these words yourself. That is the whole concept. Clear? Reading Lakshmikant is important. See, I would not make a statement against any book if you want to read it. But my advice is always firstly mug up the PPTs. If you have time, then read any other book, right? And you need not go far, but simply go and verify the previous year questions, prelims and mains, right? And see whether things are covered or not. And you can also check the books, how effectively the books have covered it. So you will find that, of course, the books cannot be updated on a daily basis or on a monthly or annual basis. So they may be lagging behind. And firstly, PPTs. And then focus on Yojana Kurukshetra and monthly magazines and read editorials. That should be sufficient. Sadly, some of you who have a lot of issues or concerns, they are not even doing the bare minimum. And as a faculty, I know who you are. The moment that statement comes, I know what is the future also. But what do I do? So I cannot even scold you. You're not in front of me. So all I can do is to tell you that please study. Don't waste your parents' money. They are putting in a lot of effort to earn money. The world out there is very cruel. So study. Don't be a crusader. Don't. Those who become crusaders right now will end up just wasting their time. Right now is the time to be a student and an aspirant and just study. Okay. Anyway, moving on. And Siva, tell me, what is your concern, sir? Of course. Who else but NCA would ask the question, sir? Tell me. Raja, 218, not really important. Important schedules? All schedules are important, Ashay. SK, come on. That is a timetable thing. You can watch it on your own. Find some time to watch the classes immediately. Moving on now to elections. The free and fair elections conducted in a country in such a nice fashion. Right? Very fair elections, free elections in the country. Tell me something. Once break. Sudeep, sir, are you okay? Has India's batting started or what? Break. Relax, sir, relax. There is no break in life. Anyway, So please tell me, when we say we have free and fair elections, what exactly do we mean by that? What is free? What is free in this election? Voting is free, right? Free of cost voting. No money is charged. Is that free? Kavana and Lakshmi. Okay, correct. So the idea of free is very simple. Free means the freedom of choice. See, outside the polling booth, you can take money from both BJP and Congress. But inside the polling booth, you are free to vote for whichever party you want to. Secret ballot. Nobody knows. That is freedom. That's the free part of it. It's free. You have complete freedom of choice. Whichever person you want to vote. Take money from all parties and go and press nota button. Nobody comes to know. Simple. Right? So this is called freedom here. Now, what is fairness? Tell me. What is a fairness angle? Fairness means equal chance of victory. Equal chance of winning the election. Everybody has equal chance of winning the election. That's called fairness. Nobody has any advantage in winning the elections. Now, is election free in our country? Tell me. Do we have freedom of choice inside the polling booth? I think yes, we have freedom of choice. Inside the polling booth, who knows what button you're pressing? But the point is, are elections fair? Do all people have equal chances of winning the election? Tell me this now. When 80% or when 470 80 MPs in the Lok Sabha in 2019 were crore-patis with their average assets being 20 crores, where is the fairness? Where is the fairness? So it may be free, but fairness part is always a concern, and that is where the ECI's role comes into picture. The bodies which ensure the conduct of elections, they have to ensure that they maintain fairness in the conduct of elections, right? Because freedom is there, it's a secret ballot voting, but fairness is important. Now, with that basic information, let's move on. First up, some articles of the Indian Constitution, very easy and very basic articles. For example, Article 327. It says what? It says that Parliament can make laws on matters dealing with elections to either house of the Parliament or the state legislature. Simple. Who makes laws? Parliament makes laws. But the question is, can the state assemblies also make laws? Yes, they can. State legislature can also make laws with respect to matters, but only with respect to state legislature elections, not for parliament elections, of course. And also on those matters where center has not made laws. It cannot override central laws. But if there's a topic on elections where the center has not made a law, then the states can make a law. Clear? They will not override the center's law, but they can make laws on matters dealing with elections pertaining to states only and not center. A basic information, nothing much to discuss here. Now, back in 1909, a very interesting concept was introduced. You all must have studied that since you have all been to a school. That's what I'm assuming. What was that? Separate electorate. Yes or no? Separate electorate for Muslims, etc. What is that? What is electorate? What is electorate? First class we discussed this word. Tell me. Electorate means voters. Voter list. Electorate. So voters who are voting in an area are a part of electorate, group of voters. The group of voters. So earlier we had this, and in fact world over we had this idea that voting rights were not given to all the people at the same time. You go to USA, initially voting was only given to those who were rich, white men, then to all the men, then to all the whites, men and women, then to blacks. Voting rights given in stages, right? But in our country, with the stroke of a pen, everybody got a right to vote. That's what we called adult suffrage or universal franchise. UAFF, Universal Adult Franchise. What is this universal adult franchise? Voting right for all adults. So in our country, you cannot create a separate voter list on the basis of religion, on the basis of race, on the basis of caste, on the basis of gender. This means we cannot now say in that constituency only Muslims will vote. In that constituency, only Hindus will vote. In that constituency, only scheduled caste people will vote. This cannot be done, can't be tolerated. Are we clear? Now, you cannot have a voter list based on these four parameters only. Can we have a voter list based on other parameters? Tell me. Can we create a voter list based on other parameters? Yes, we can. We already have a voter list based on the parameter. What parameter do we have right now? What is the criteria? Age criteria. Don't we have it? So on these grounds, we cannot. But on other grounds, possible. So on other grounds, it's possible. For example, age. For example, maybe in future, educational qualifications, etc. A few weeks back, I think in some online class, some teacher said that, a faculty said that we should vote only for people who are educated. And there's a lot of backlash that he faced, right? Of course, I won't make any kind of statement until and unless there is no law made by the government. Why should we make a statement? Vote for whoever you want to vote, no problem, right? This is a problem in our country now. You cannot even make a statement because everybody is always super hyper. I think whatever said was in a very generic way, that it is a largely accepted logic, especially in the lower level elections, that there should be some kind of educational qualification. Why don't we make any kind of statement there? Why do we have education qualification for panchayats, municipalities? But people take offense if you say there should be some kind of educational qualification at the Lok Sabha Vidhan Sabha level. Why this offense? Right? We are silent on the same qualification for the local levels. Anyway, so on other grounds, it's possible. Maybe in future we can have on age, on educational qualification, etc. But on these four grounds, not possible. Now, one more thing. This is a largely misunderstood article of the Indian Constitution. Sadly, UPSC has also misunderstood this. This is Article 326. I'll explain this later on also again. This article simply says that every person who is above the age of 18 has a right, has a right to be a part of electoral roll. To be a part of electoral rolls. Voter list. This article does not give you the right to vote. It only gives you the right to be a part of the voter list. Are we clear on this? Please understand this very, very clearly that Article 326 does not give us any other right but the sole right to be a part of voter list. And just because my name is in the voter list does not mean I get the right to vote. My right to vote in election comes from some other place. We'll discuss that shortly. Are we clear so far on this basic information? Okay. So once we are done with this, let's move on to this body. The body whose task is to conduct free and fair elections, a very, very independent body, right? And okay. What Prem Kumar sir, domicile parameter, what? Sir, I understood, sir. Okay, very good. Lakshmi, we have already discussed this provision. Madam, don't raise all these questions. Voting age was reduced from 21 to 18. Please refer to your Lok Sabha election page. It's mentioned there. Now, Election Commission of India. Guys, I need to have this basic, or we should have an understanding that once a topic is taught, explaining it again from scratch will not be justified. It wastes time, right? That is why don't just move forward and forget what was taught earlier. Revise also. ECI article is important. Article 324. Currently, the Chief Election Commissioner, Sri Rajiv Kumar, Anup Chandra Pandey, and Arun Goyal are two other members. Today's motivation, all of them are IAS officers, retired IAS officers. And with the new changes being made, only IAS officers will have the chance of becoming election commissioners. So please clear the examination, become IAS officer. Even after retirement, you can still become election commissioner. This is today's motivation to study. Clear? Okay. Sudeep sir, you wanted a break. How to become election commissioner of India? Study first to become IAS. Then we'll discuss that. Okay. First up, who appoints you? The appointment is done by the president, subject to parliamentary law, if a law exists. So there is no law as of now. So currently it is done by the president only, meaning the government only. Please, I request you don't ask me, sir, is this the real power of president? Because it is not. So who appoints the election commissioners? The President of India or the government. Now, what is the composition of election commission? How many members? Okay. How many members? Just one. The election commission shall consist of a chief election commissioner. This is mandatory post. CEC. Mandatory. Chief election commissioner. And such number of other election commissioners, if any, as the president may from time to time fix. plus how many other members? X number of ECs. This is the composition. Uh, Guys, X not what you're thinking of. Please come back to the class. X means variable. It can be anything. Okay? Don't go to those dark days of your life. Please focus on the class. Come back immediately. So X here means variable. This X currently is 2. Currently, CEC plus 2 election commissioners. Clear? So CEC, the Chief Election Commissioner, this is mandatory. But other CECs is not mandatory. This is an article of the Indian Constitution only. Don't worry. Okay? Now, what is the qualification? As of now, currently, or let me write this currently here. None. No qualification. And what is the condition of service? The Election Commission, conditions of service of election commissioners and transaction of business rules say that the salary will be same as Supreme Court judge. Mind you, the CEC and the ECs get a same salary, which is that of Supreme Court judge. A lot of respect for them. Charge expenditure salary can't be modified and all. Then term of office is 6 years or 65 years. 6 years is the tenure and 65 years is the age of retirement. These things are not mentioned in the Constitution. These things are not mentioned in the Constitution. They are mentioned in this law. So a simple statement, as per the Constitution, the election commissioners get the same salary as the chief election commissioner. Yes or no? Of course not. The fact is true, but not as per the Constitution. Okay. Now, apart from this, very important. See, these people here, CC and EC, it's a 3-member body. How are decisions taken? All decisions majority voting. Clear? This means that CEC and ECs, they have same powers. It is not that CEC has supreme powers. No veto, nothing. All the election commissioners, all these 3 people have the same power. It is just that he is the head, CEC. This post is mandatory. These posts are optional. That's the only difference. Now, coming to a small point here. Before that, let me look at the removal process also. And let me tell you what's the removal process. The removal of the Chief Election Commissioner is mentioned in the Constitution, and we know this very well. I had mentioned this earlier also, that the CEC is removed on like manners and on like grounds as a Supreme Court judge. Clear? Similar to Supreme Court judge. Fair enough. What about other election commissioners? How are they removed? Other ECs, their removal can be initiated on the recommendation of the CEC. Meaning, CEC can recommend their removal. But nothing is mentioned. What is the ground? We don't know what is a procedure. We don't know any alternative to remove. We don't, nothing is mentioned, right? Very strange that all these three people have the same power when deciding on when to have elections, etc. But to remove him, you need a special majority in the parliament. And for these two people, nothing is mentioned. Nothing is mentioned. How to remove them? Not even a simple process is mentioned. Should there be a voting in the parliament or should there be inquiry by Supreme Court? Nothing is mentioned. What is the meaning of this? A removal can be initiated on the recommendation of CEC. Then what happens? Sorry, silent. Anyway, please look at this appointment. I think we all agree that Election Commission of India is very important post. Yes or no? Extremely important. Do we agree? To ensure fairness. And if it is very, very important, giving the ruling party, the government, complete and comprehensive powers to make the appointment, how will it be fair? Right? The appointment is completely biased. So, Parliament had never made a law on this, and the government kept on appointing. So, in 2023, this matter came to court in the Anup Barnwal case, and Supreme Court interfered. Supreme Court said, wait, 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 wait. We are here. Why do you worry? Supreme Court said that, sorry, this will not work. From now onwards, till the Parliament makes a law, the appointment of the election commissioners will be done by a 3-member committee comprising of the Prime Minister, LOP in the Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India. Me too, please. Right? Everywhere. CJI also. They will advise the president on the appointment of election commissioners until the parliament makes a law. Clear? Also, the instruction given was that government, please, the ground of removal of ECs should be made the same as that of CEC. Why are you making ECs devoid of this independence? Their removal should also be like the CEC only, make changes accordingly. And the conditions of service of election commissioners should also not be varied to their disadvantage after appointment. Meaning, once you appointed them, please don't reduce their salary, please don't modify their tenure, etc. Don't do all the drama with them. Government saw this judgment, said, oh, from now onwards, the CJ will also be a part of this appointment committee. Okay, okay. So government said, wait, wait, wait. Article 324 says Parliament can make a law and provide for the appointment procedure. No problem. Government has brought a bill. That bill is pending. It will be passed, of course. But I have mentioned bill only. It will become an act very soon. So you can make this an act only. Now government says, we are giving a better appointment process. And what is that process? The process is very simple. The highest, the senior most IAS officer, cabinet secretary, and 2 other secretary rank officers, IAS officers, they will suggest 5 names. Names of 5 people. That is called a search committee. Search committee will find out names of those genuine candidates and give those names to the selection committee. Selection committee will comprise of PM, LOP Lok Sabha, and a union cabinet minister chosen by the PM. Who will the PM choose? Tell me. Who will the PM choose? I think we know very well. Who will he choose? Right? Let's not write any name. Don't write any names. I don't know who will choose. Right? The PM will choose the most appropriate person to be the part of the selection committee. Simple. And this particular selection committee will recommend one name to the president and the president follows it. Are we clear? Now look at the selection committee. Selection committee, highly independent committee. Government has no control on it, right? this is a part of government, this is a part of government. And what is he doing here? What is his role? Two people, best friends coming together, LOP Lok Sabha, silent, sitting there. Okay, do what you do like. Uh, one more point, guys. This point will be applicable everywhere. So some of you may have a concern that, sir, there is no LOP in the Lok Sabha. What do we do now? Don't worry. If at any point of time there is no LOP in Lok Sabha and in some committee LOP is required, then Mavlankar rule is foregone. Meaning we ignore the Mavlankar rule of the quorum criteria. What is Mavlankar rule? That to become a leader of opposition, you should also have won more than 10% or at least 10% seats in the house. That's called Mavlankar criteria. So if you remove the Mavlankar criteria, then Congress is the largest party in the opposition in the Lok Sabha. And Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary then becomes a member of such a committee. Are we clear on this? Everybody? So Supreme Court had, and for those who are very angry at how dare the government do this? Supreme Court had said, the Supreme Court held that a committee comprising of these three people will advise the president on appointment to the ECI until Parliament enacts a law on the subject. So Parliament has now enacted a law on the subject. No problem. And even the Constitution allows the Parliament to enact a law. Okay. Now, what is the qualification? Now we have qualification also. Current or former secretary ranked officers in Government of India, IAS officers, current serving IAS officers. This is not correct. How will there be fairness? And former IAS officers. And what's the other criteria? Expertise in managing and conducting elections. Every IAS officer who starts his career in the district, you will have to manage and conduct elections in your district, whether it is for Lok Sabha, initially for Vidhan Sabha, later on for Lok Sabha. It is going to be there. So this criteria, every IAS meets this criteria, almost every IAS. And then you are now eligible to become what? Election commissioner, including chief election commissioner. One more thing. Look at this. Salary and allowances. Salary and allowances earlier were same as Supreme Court judge. Yes or no? Yes or no? When you make somebody's salary and allowance same as Supreme Court judge, you can never modify their salary, their allowance, their conditions of service, etc. A simple example, Supreme Court judges, after retirement, they get staff for life. They get a driver for life till they're alive. And when you make somebody's service conditions same as a Supreme Court judge, you give them authority, right? But now what has happened? Now the salary and allowances are same as that of a cabinet secretary. Cabinet secretary is a government employee. See, salary is the same in absolute number, 2.5 lakhs. But that's not the point. You are now, or your service conditions are now the same as a government employee. How will you ever have the authority to give orders to IAS officers? Where is the respect? Where is the status? Where is the authority? It's gone. Election Commission of India, the independence and the status and the authority is gone. And just to clarify, Ambedkar used to say that there are 4 pillars of the Indian Constitution. What are those 4 pillars? Supreme Court, UPSC, CAG, ECI. 4 pillars of the Indian Constitution. So one pillar now already weakened, UPSC. Who bothers about UPSC? So that's also there. Two pillars are left: CAG and Supreme Court. CAG's appointment is also done by the government only. Only one pillar is left: Supreme Court. We'll think on it what to do. Then the ruling party can comprehensively govern the country. Yeah. So anyway, right now they have through this bill tried to curtail the Election Commission of India. And lastly, term of office 6 years or 65 years and not eligible for reappointment. This is the current bill which will become an act, of course. So once this becomes an act, this will this will no longer be applicable. Okay. Will be repealed once new bill is passed. Are we clear on this, everybody? We are done with the conditions of service of Election Commission of India. Now solve this question. Asked 20 years ago. Okay, a lot of you got this correct. The CEC and other ECs enjoy equal powers but receive unequal salary. Sorry, this is wrong. Same salary. One is wrong. Remove these two. Good old days of elimination. Then 2 has to be correct. Let's check 3. The CEC shall not be removed from his office except in like manner and on like grounds as judge of Supreme Court. Absolutely correct. B is the answer. And the CEC is entitled to the same salary as judge of Supreme Court. Is correct. Will no longer be correct in future. So 2 will become wrong in future. And the term of office of election commissioner is 5 years. Wrong. Or 62. Wrong. Done. Moving on now to functions performed by the ECI, the Election Commission of India. Okay. Option number 3, sir, what is there to understand? The Chief Election Commissioner shall not be removed from his office except on like manner and on like grounds as Judge of Supreme Court. Same process. How to remove them? That's it. Now, Shivam, Article 324. Article 324, Clause 2. Please refer to it. Okay, now functions. What is the function performed by ECI? Function number 1. Very, very simple. This is, or rather not this, these two are mentioned under Article 324, Clause 1. Prepare and revise the electoral roll. Voter list. Who will update the voter list after all? Who will update the voter list? Election Commission of India. Updating the voter list means what? New names are added, old names are removed, right? Some new names are added, those who have turned 18. Those who have died, names are removed. Those who have left the country, become foreign citizens, names are removed, etc. Then ECI conducts and supervises the election of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, Vidhan Parishad, election for the president, for the vice president, every election except which elections? Very good. Local body elections. For local bodies, who conducts the election for panchayat and municipalities? Yes, excellent. State Election Commissioner, Article 243, capital K. Great. Now, fixing the election program. This is a part of your RPA 1951. We'll discuss RPA shortly. Don't panic. RPA stands for Representation of People's Act. Election program. What's the program of election? What is UPSC program? UPSC issues the calendar for the next year. In that calendar, dates are mentioned. Then finally, in the month of January, February, the notification comes out and the form filling date starts. Then all the aspirants start filling up the form, right? Then what happens? After forms are filled, some time is there for the UPSC to look into the form you have filled, and the first rejection is there only. If you cannot fill up a simple form, then I think it's better that you don't become an IS only. But anyway, after that is done, then the exams take place, and there also you have an alt option. If you fill up the form and you're not prepared properly, you can simply skip the prelims. If you skip the prelims, your attempt is not counted, right? The stages, same thing here. Number one, we start with announcement. Announcement of elections. Done. Once the announcement is done, then within maximum 21 days gap, official notification is released that from now, guys, those who want to contest elections, please file your nomination paper. Just like you fill up your form, file your nomination paper. The nomination paper filing window is very small. It is not a very long window. That window is 7 days. 7 days. After this window is over, then you have scrutiny of nomination. So, filing of nomination takes place for how many days? 7 days. Done. Next step is the forms are scrutinized. 1 day gap is given, and then scrutiny of nomination. Okay, done. Then a chance is given That if somebody says, no, I can't contest elections, I feel too shy to speak in public, no, I can't lie so much, sorry, I can't speak so much in public, they can take back their nomination. Withdrawal of nomination. That's also possible. And for this, 2 days of time is given. Now, once the nomination has been withdrawn by people who don't want to contest, then campaign starts. And here you have to give people minimum 14 days of time to campaign. Once the campaign period is over, then the polling begins. Once the polling begins, depending on which state you are polling in, if it's a larger state, then what happens? Maybe over 3-4 days, 3-4 stages. If it's a small state, on single day, all the polling ends. Then finally, the polling ends, and then what? Then we have the declaration of results, and we get to choose who is going to harass us, sorry, who is going to govern us for the next 5 years. Simple. This is the entire election program. Are we clear, everybody? Now, moving on to other elements. First point mentioned on this page. Which article is this? Prem Kumar, question is not clear. Regulation means what? Which article is this, guys? This is Article 103. The president will disqualify the people, their membership, if it is done on the ground of what? Not being a citizen, office of profit, unsound mind, all these things. Similarly, for the governor, we have which article? 192. This is for the governors. Okay. We'll discuss that, Prem Kumar. I'll address that concern. Wait for it. Then prepare and revise the model code of conduct for parties and candidates. Now, what is a model code of conduct? I'll discuss it shortly. Once we discuss RPA, I'll discuss what is MCC. Then management of IIIDEM. Our Election Commission of India runs an institute called IIIDEM. India International Institute of Democracy and Election Management. Clear? Basically, this is a institute which showcases the greatness of the ECI in conducting elections. And this is an institute which also provides advanced training program for election commission officials. Provides advanced training for EC officials from other countries. So countries like Nigeria, Sudan, etc., Uganda, their ECs will come and we'll provide for training on how to conduct free and fair elections in your country also. Then examine the account of expenditure. Mayank Badwani, how many days to count the vote? Sir, it depends. It will happen in only one day, sir. Maybe 3, 4 hours, 6 hours. That's it. Madhuri, I said model code of conduct we'll discuss later on in detail, separately. Don't worry. Okay. Now, examine the account of expenditure submitted by the candidates. Plus, not just candidates, plus political parties also. So let me just tell you that whatever money you spend during the election for marketing, sorry, not bribing voters, I mean spreading information about your policies, programs, etc., all this money you have to inform the ECI. Okay. Now, this would be in case the election is Lok Sabha elections, right? For Lok Sabha, within 90 days of conduct of election, Lok Sabha, within 75 days of conduct of election to the Legislative Assembly. Why is this done? To ensure that no party crosses the limit of expenditure. Why? Because we'll come to it. But before that, some other points. The Election Commission decides the criteria for recognizing parties. So basically, in our country, think of it like this. Political parties are of two kinds, two types. Those political parties which are registered political parties, and those which are unregistered. Registered political parties are allowed to contest elections. So after contesting elections, if you do not perform very well, then you are unrecognized. And if you perform very well, you are recognized based on some criteria. Based on this good performance criteria, you can either be called a national party or you can be called a state party. Just like a civil servant, aspirants are of two kinds: those who have filled up the form, those who have not filled up the form. Now, those who fill up the form, if you perform well, maybe clear the prelims, clear the mains, you'll be given some status. Prelims cleared candidate, mains cleared candidate. Others, we don't care. So here also, if you have cleared the mains, mains cleared. If you have cleared only prelims, prelims cleared. Same thing, right? And once you clear the prelims or mains, then you also get the right to give incorrect advice to the coming generation, spoiling their career also. I mean, giving nice advice to the coming generation how to clear the examination. This criteria is decided by the Election Commission. What is the criteria? You'll study in your governance classes. More on that later on. Then it decides the election symbols and any disputes with respect to the same. Clear? So not just disputes, plus issues on splits, mergers, everything is decided by ECI only. Clear? And one more thing, whatever is your symbol, ECI allocates symbol. They will give you a list of symbols. You have to choose from that only. You cannot choose your own symbol. Clear? that list is fixed for symbols. You cannot choose your own symbols. It's not some tattoo art that any random thing can be chosen. Clear? And lastly, fixing the limit of poll expenditure. So as per Rule 90 of Conduct of Election Rules, individuals cannot spend more than a certain amount. This is only for individuals, candidates, not for parties. So what is this limit? Lok Sabha and the Legislative Assembly. In the case of Lok Sabha, it is 95 lakhs. In case you are a part of a large constituency, and it is just 70 lakh of 75 lakhs if you are a part of a smaller constituency. Who decides that? ECI decides that. Don't worry. In the Vidhan Sabha, what is the limit? This limit is even low, 40 lakhs and 28 lakhs. Now you are a better judge here. Why should I make any statement? Why should I make a statement whether these people are limiting themselves within this or not? This is meant only for candidates, not for parties. Meaning what? Every individual who is contesting elections from any party, you cannot spend beyond a certain limit in the campaign period. So for an individual, what is the poll? What is the election expenditure? 95 lakh rupees is the limit. You cannot spend beyond that. If you do, you will be disqualified from contesting elections for 3 years. Are we clear? Even if I belong to say BJP or Congress, it does not matter. I cannot spend. My party can spend any amount collectively as a whole. But individuals contesting, I cannot be allowed to spend more than a certain amount. Are we clear on this, everybody? And this amount was only increased last year. In 2019 elections, this amount was just 70 lakhs. This was 54 lakhs. This was 28 lakhs. This was 20 lakhs. Can you imagine? 28 lakhs in the Vidhan Sabha to win. In today's day and age, go to panchayats. There are some panchayats where they are spending 20 lakh rupees. So I am not really sure if it is a very, very appropriate amount. And Megha, sir, 95 lakh is not a small. Megha, not for common people like us. It is a very big amount for us. I understand. Not for individuals. In 2019 elections, I did tell you 470-80 people are crorpatis. Association for Democratic Reforms has conducted surveys and has found that there were over 80 Lok Sabha constituencies in 2019 where average expenditure done per candidate was upwards of 40 crore rupees. You spend on an average 40 crore and then still lose the election. That's also a possibility. 40 crores. So you may think 95 lakh is a huge amount. It is not. Okay. So this is there with respect to these parties. Where does the money come from, Mary? We contribute it. Parties do not have any revenue source. We give money to parties. People give money to parties. Just want all such things in your governance classes. Not here. Governance classes. NDA is just a group of various parties, nothing else. Okay. So this is electoral bonds. We'll discuss that later on. How you give money to parties? Go to the party office, give money. Simple. What is the secret there? Are we clear on this functions? If we are clear, solve this question. We'll take a break. Mark the answer quickly. First option is 1 and 2 only. Second option is 2 only. Third option is 2 and 3 only. D is 3 only. Why do you need other options to be seen? Can you not make out from the question only? What kind of excuses do we have? Other options can't be seen. The right option could be seen. ECI is a 5-member body. Is wrong. Ministry of Home Affairs decides election schedule. You please tell me who decides election schedule? Election Commission of India. Imagine Mr. Amit Shah deciding the election schedule. Tell me. It will be completely fair, of course. Wrong, wrong. Right answer. Simple. 3 is right. Okay, so that is there. Just a point here. This announcement, as I said, is done by ECI. Notifications released by the president or the governor officially. Done. So this is there with respect to the functions. Now we are done with ECI. In case you want to study Lakshmikant, feel free to study that. Lakshmikant, chapter 42, 42. And important articles. 324, 326. That's it. Done. Okay. Let's take a break. Be back at 7:10. Ritu, it is mentioned here. Notification by the president or governor by ECI. Okay, come back at 7:15. Don't cry. Come back at 7:15. Full enjoyment. Go live your life. Break, please. Okay, now let's move on. I hope we are all available and not busy watching the match. Now coming to RPA. RPA 1950, the Representation of People's Act 1950. Now, what does this law contain? This law provides for all these things. You know very well that we need some laws to govern the conduct of elections. So we have the allocation of seats, delimitation of constituencies, qualification of voters, etc. All a part of RPA 1950. Certain sections are important. We'll discuss those sections only. And you have to mug up the information on the PPTs. Don't ask me, sir, can I ignore this? No, you cannot ignore this. It has been very carefully made, so every information needs to be mugged up. Are we clear? It won't happen overnight. You have to read 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 times, but that must be done. Starting with this entire chart, not important, ignore this. Come here now. Allocation of seats. We have already seen this earlier. How many MPs are there from your state in the Lok Sabha? Where is this mentioned? Allocation of seats to states in the House of People. This is mentioned under Schedule 1 of RPA 1950, including SC/ST reservation. What is the total number of seats in the assemblies for each state? This is mentioned under Schedule 2 of RPA 1950. And how many seats are given to each state for their council? This is mentioned in Schedule 3. And all these are mentioned in which law? They're all mentioned in RPA 1950. One more. Oh, Godavari is asking me Rajya Sabha. How sweet and innocent a question. So others, will you please point out where is this allocation of seats to Rajya Sabha mentioned? Thankfully, you remember it is mentioned under Schedule 4 of the Indian Constitution. Right? So, for Rajya Sabha, it is not mentioned in RPA, it is mentioned in Schedule 4 of the Indian Constitution. Please don't be confused. Done. We know this information already. Now, officers to deal with the elections. So, what types of officers do we have? See, Election Commission of India has no other task to perform except elections. But elections don't happen always, right? So, Election Commission of India is a very small body comprising of limited staff. They take up government staff only on loan for a temporary period to conduct the elections. Now, in every state, they have a person called Chief Electoral Officer, or in each state, there is an officer called Chief Electoral Officer. Then we have district election officers for each district. Then we have returning officers. Who are returning officers? These people are there for each constituency. What is the task of a returning officer? What is the task of a returning officer? Returning. What is he returning? Returning officer is a name given to a person who manages the election in a constituency and returns and gives to people the winning candidate. Hence, returning officer. He is returning a winning candidate to all the people that you guys, you have chosen this politician as a winner. Take him. Clear? Now, when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, the district magistrate is the returning officer. When it comes to Vidhan Sabha elections, the sub-divisional magistrate or SDO, he is the what? Returning officer. So when you initially join the services as an SDM, etc., you will be given the task to manage elections in the Vidhan Sabha. Here, some of you are finding RPA difficult. Now you'll have to certainly conduct elections on your own. Difficult task, right? Now, the entire constituency is divided into small parts called booth. So voters in an area go and vote in the polling booth. How many of you have never voted for the elections in any elections? Okay. See, if I take a poll, the entire polling for today gets corrupt. This is the leaderboard for the day. Toppers today. Oh, now we have exactly 20 toppers today. These people are the toppers for the day because we have no longer any question to solve. Today's toppers. So now let me take a poll. A for yes, B for no. How many of you have voted in elections? A for yes, B for no. Oh, interesting. One more poll, please. Please type A if you are not eligible, too young, under 18 to vote. And please type B if you have chosen not to vote because of any other reason except eligibility. Oh, here also. Great. I voted on someone else's voter ID card, Ritesh. Strange. Okay. So, for those who have never voted, you will have to believe in what I'm saying here. Simple. Just have full faith in what I'm saying. For others who have voted, you know what I'm talking about. So basically, an entire constituency is divided into small areas called polling booth. In one polling booth, ideally, you have 800 to 1000 voters, but the upper limit is 1500. So in a polling booth, you will never have more than 1500 voters. And the election commission says that we ideally want a polling booth to be within the range of around 1 or 2 kilometers. So ideal range, 2 to 3 kilometers, meaning within the range of 2 to 3 kilometers of every citizen, there will be a polling booth. Now, this may not always happen. If you live in a state where there is very less population, density is very low, then we cannot have polling booth in every house. But the point is that you will not be forced to travel a lot of distance to vote. Simple. Okay. Now, Inside the polling booth, there are some officers called polling officers. So let me just write it here. The head of the polling booth is called a presiding officer. He is the boss in the polling booth. And you also have some other officers called polling officers. So if you have ever gone to vote, you will find that there's somebody who is verifying your voter I card, right? Voter I card. Remember this voter I card where the face never matches the photograph in the voter I card, right? We are yet to see a human being who looks as ugly as in the voter I card. It is not possible. So that's what we say. We are never as good as the Instagram shows us, and nor as bad as the voter I card shows us. The reality is in between. So I'm sure in earlier classes, some people have mentioned this statement that in my voter I card I'm looking good. But we have to get a proof from them. Without proof, we cannot accept all this statement. Yes, Aadhaar card, voter I card, they are the worst photographs. So there are some people who may say that I am looking good in the voter I card. We will never trust them. Not possible. Something wrong has happened then, right? Because there is no Vivo and Redmi phone, right? So how will we look nice? Somebody saying I am looking good in the voter I card. We cannot believe. Sorry. We'll have to verify it. Okay. So these presiding officers, Asif, sir, we are great democracy in India. The people of JNK get chance to vote before a decade ago. Asif, sir, you will get a chance to vote. Don't worry. Good things take time. It will happen. Now, who are these presiding officers and polling officers? These people are basically bankers, teachers, not coaching institute teachers, government staff. These are the people who are given election duty. Okay. So these people are given election duty. So some money is also given. Don't worry. Some money is given. It depends. The returning officer decides how much money will be given to these people to conduct election duty. It is your task to ensure fairness in the what? Election procedure or the conduct of elections on the polling booth. 7,000 per year? No, Tarun. It is just a one-time thing. Why per year? It depends. If it's a city, the rate is low. 1,200, 1,500, etc. If it's a difficult area, then the rate is very high. 2,400, 2,500. So it all depends. Are we clear? Sometimes only refreshment. No, sir. Money is given always. And the returning officer decides. So it is not a fixed amount. It will vary from one place to another. Clear? So that is there. So this is for the polling booth. Now one more point. Under Article 324, we just saw the functions of ECI, that ECI updates the voter list, electoral roll. But don't think that the election commissioner will come to your house and knock the door. Hello, did anybody turn 18 this year? And names. He is the election commissioner. So what they do is they have appointed some local government employees or local PSU employees or some local body member as a booth level officer, BLO. This concept is in use since 2006. Government or a semi-government or a local body employee, and this person's task is to update the electoral roll. Okay, they will actually collect the field data, registration forms, etc. And it is said that they are a friend, philosopher, and guide of the local people. Okay, it is a part of RPA now, section 13B, subsection 2. Muni, yes, sir, my colleagues are doing BLO duty. Mustaba, I am also BLO. Tarun, I am a BLO in Punjab. Sir, there are multiple Tarun. Some Tarun is writing, so it's okay. Other Tarun says that, sir, I have said nothing. It's okay. Relax. Sir, he's a very corrupt officer because at the time of partial election, he removed some names. Oh, but see, that's the whole point. The election commission has chosen these government employees as BLOs for a reason, that if things go wrong, if they try to do any kind of hanky-panky activity, then election commission can take an action against them, right? That is why they are chosen. It's very safe to have government employees there. But do they, or are all BLOs very fair? I won't say so, but most of them are, right? Okay. Megha, sir, please explain how. I thought it's a serious question, Megha. BLO? BLO. Booth level. Oh, my bad. BLO. How dare I say something without writing it? Sir, no corruption. Of course, Mustafa, you may not be corrupt. My mother is also BLO. So great. We have a lot of people here whose parents are also booth level officers. Amazing. So you know how the voter list is updated. In most cases, it is very genuine. But I will not deny the fact that there will be a situation where sometimes there is some kind of malpractice happening in updating the voter list. Now, coming to types of voters, we have various types of voters. One type of voter, largely all of us, Aam Aadmi, general voter. Then we have service voters. Then we have NRI voters. NRI, non-resident Indian, an Indian citizen who is living in a foreign country. Remember those people who then go to a foreign country and come back with a changed fake accent? NRIs. NRIs. They also can vote because they are Indian citizens. And then absentee voters. These are people who are employed in delivering essential services. Absentee voters. So, what is the voting right given to all these people one by one? Very simple, very easy to understand. Firstly, you have to be a citizen of India. Second, age factor, that is 18 or above. And third, you have to be an ordinary resident of the area, meaning you should be living in that area. Are we clear on this? Living in that area. Now, first up, general voter. How does general voter vote? There is no option but physical voting. You have to go to the polling booth and cast your vote. Simple. Go to the booth, press the button, choose the leader. No alternative. Second criteria or category, service voter. Service voters are of three kinds. Number one, people of the armed forces. Number two, police employed outside the state. And number three, Government of India employees outside the country. So all of you here who become IFS officers, right, will be posted outside in some country like, say, Uganda, Somalia, Canada, right, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Okay, don't be sad. USA, Switzerland. Now happy? It is a luck factor, sir. Okay. Now all these people, they get, of course, physical voting. If they are available, physical voting. But if you are not available, then you have an option to choose postal ballot. What is postal ballot? You are given a form, mark your preference there, and send it by post. Postal ballot. Or proxy. What is proxy? Like in your college days, when your friend marked the attendance on your behalf, that is called proxy. Are we clear? So in that case, you can choose anybody as your proxy, and the person will go and cast the vote as a proxy voter on your behalf. Clear? Now, proxy voter, though it's not a very big concern, but normally some people said about this proxy voting, it reveals your vote to somebody else. There is no longer the secrecy of vote. Now, in most cases, proxy voter is a spouse. If you cannot even share this information to your spouse, then what is the relationship like? And yes, there is no guarantee of the spouse voting according to what you want. You may be a die-hard BJP fan, but what if your spouse finds Rahul Gandhi cute and votes for Congress? So, see, you can never know, right? You have to have trust. Simple. Trust is everything. See, polity and life lessons go together. Anyway, so service voters. Let me remind you, the only type of voter who is allowed proxy voting in the country is a service voter. This is available only for service voters. Third category, NRIs. Who are these NRIs? The people with Bisleri bottle in their hand. The people who have gone to a foreign country and then come back to India. These are Indian citizens. All those people who reside in India for less than 182 days in any financial year are called NRIs. So Susmita says, nahi rehte idhar. Oh, NRIs. Okay. Decent. I won't say very bad joke. Decent joke. Decent joke. Okay. Now, NRIs. So, yes, Pardesi, all okay. Yes, Roshan, non-resident of India. Don't be angry. So, NRIs living in some foreign country, right? As a student, working there, etc. So, the idea is here is very simple here. NRIs have to come back and vote. Are we clear? You have to come back and vote. So, Physical voting. Now look at a situation. You are living in, see, if you are in Sri Lanka or Bhutan or Nepal or Pakistan, then very easy to come back. Very easy and simple. But if you are living in Australia, USA, far off countries, coming back and voting and going back, 2 lakh rupees, right? Very, very costly. So you have to waste money. Now, Supreme Court said this is wrong. Where is the fairness here? Where is the free part here, right? So we have to ensure that everybody gets a chance to vote. So Election Commission was told that please make available the facility of e-postal ballot for NRIs. As per Supreme Court order in the Nagendra Chindam case of 2015, Supreme Court said that e-postal ballot should be introduced. Now, what is E here? E means electronic. So, some of you may say, sir, online voting. No, this is not Indian Idol. Are we clear? We are not sitting on Indian Idol show. And if Election Commission makes available some kind of platform to vote online, the site will be hacked in seconds. Forget minutes, seconds. So online voting with complete safety and security may be a challenge. E part here means what? It means that you are sitting in a far off country, you can download the ballot form online. The PDF is sent to you, click and download the form. Electronic part is over. That's it. Then you fill up the form and manually post it, send it via post to the concerned returning officer. Are we clear on this? So don't think it's some online voting. But let me clarify, even this is yet to be implemented. Yet to be implemented. So as of now, NRIs have no option. They are earning too much money. So please come and vote. Okay. See, the Election Commission says that there is logistic issue across the globe. Somebody living in African country sends his vote. Somebody in Australia sends his vote. Somebody in Pakistan sends his vote, etc. Now, it may not always be a case that the votes reach on time. That could be a huge challenge for ECI. That is why they say we are thinking on how to implement it. So as of now, only physical voting for NRIs. The fourth category of voters are absentee voters. Who are these absentee voters? Three categories. Number one, delivery of essential services. Number two, absentee voter. Persons with disabilities. And number three, senior citizen. (80 years or above, or above 80. Okay. Whose age is more than 80. Are we clear? For all these categories of people, they have the option of Postal ballot. Delivery of essential services means somebody employed as a doctor somewhere, right? Divya in the same category. Yes, Suresh, what is the problem? Sir, guys, there is no mandatory voting for anybody. Are we clear? No mandatory voting. You want to vote, come and vote. Don't want to vote, nobody cares. Puja, person with disabilities means disabled people. Rifa, I do not track the whereabouts of Sania Mirza, so I am not really sure whether Sania Mirza is living outside India for 182 days or not. That's a personal information. Why don't you find out yourself this information? Let me also know. Soyab, yes, of course. Venkatesh and others. Postal ballot is very simple. You are given a form, fill up the form, and send to the concerned ECI office where you are registered voter, and then your vote is added. Who is eligible for proxy voting? Whoever this person chooses. If I'm an armed forces personnel and I have chosen somebody as my proxy voter, that person will go and cast the vote. Clear? One man who was clicking picture of his vote casting along with EVM was that is not allowed. Clicking photographs inside the polling booth is not allowed. It's illegal. Your voting rights can be taken away. Lakshya, they constantly are trying to upgrade the election system, election procedure, etc. So they're always busy. Arey, sir, it is correct. Great. This age is larger than 80 years. I can't teach symbols and stuff here. Come on. If the age had to be less, then this would be bigger. No, no. Proxy voter should be eligible to vote. Okay. Absentee voters are those people who are either person with disabilities, they those who may not be for them who it is not possible to go to the polling booth, or very old people, not the senior citizens, all of them, but those senior citizens who are above 80 years of age, and then those people who are employed in delivery of essential services like say fire services, medical services, etc. They may not be personally available, so for them this is there. Okay. Yahya, postal ballot. Durga, prox. Senior citizens, there is a dot here. Their age should be more than 80 years. I hope this symbol is okay for everybody. Guys, this is a statement here, and we write age here. Your age should be more than 80. It is disheartening to see don't understand math symbols also. Forget it. Forget it. Ignore it. There is no secrecy ensured of postal ballot. It is not possible. Right? The now you see, the idea is that the ballot paper comes, we put all the ballot papers at one place only and count them, right? But you want me to ensure that the person who receives the ballot paper does not see it on his own. We can't ensure that. Simple. Okay. No, art students or not, but still, this was math till class 10th. Done. We are done. E-postal ballot here means the form is available to you online. It will be sent via PDF or whatever form, right? Postal ballot is basically the norm where you go and collect the form from the election commission's office and fill the form and send it by post. Done. Types of voters. Now coming to right to vote. Anurag, sir, in many states, government employees vote. Yes, yes. Election Commission has also advised that to incorporate more and more voters, if at all it is possible, the government officials can go to somebody's house and also get their vote. It is largely just to act as an incentive for people to vote. It can't be done at a large scale. It is done just for, I would not say showbazi, but just done to showcase that, see, we want everybody to vote. It acts as an inspiration that if an old person is voting, then youngsters, come on, go to booth and vote. Like recently, ECI enrolled Sachin Tendulkar as their brand ambassador to spread this idea of voting being very important. Guys, if I belong to this category, it is my choice. Firstly, voting is not compulsory. Are we clear? These are options given. If I don't want to vote, I'll sit in my house and enjoy my life. Simple. If I want to vote, the onus is on me to find out how to vote. Number one. Number two, if I belong to this category, let's say armed forces, I am posted on the Pakistan border, I will not leave the border and come to vote. It could be risky. So I will opt for postal ballot. I'll inform the corresponding election commissioner's office in my constituency that I want to be a postal ballot voter or I want to choose proxy voting. I have to inform. And then they will ask which voter, proxy or postal. I say, no, I'm unmarried. I want postal ballot. Postal ballot. So I'll be given a form, fill up the form, mark your preference, send it to the concerned officer who is in charge of counting of the votes in that area. For every person, their name is in a separate voter list. There's not one place where all the voters send their vote. Apply some common sense also, right? Armed forces personnel are coming from all across the country. So they belong to different constituencies. Their name is in different voter list. In every constituency, there is a person appointed who takes care of the elections called a returning officer. What is this here? You ask such a lame question sometimes. It gets me thinking. Anybody can be a proxy voter. Anybody. You have to choose. So if I am the person in the armed forces, I will choose the proxy voter. Why will election commission choose a proxy voter for me? Anyway, informed citizens of this informed country, I hope now you had some clarity on what are the various types of voters, right? These are just flowing according to names. There should be no confusion only whatsoever. Anyway, we are discussing RP 1950. Puja, postal or proxy, both are same. What to say to you, madam, now? What is election? It's the same kind of thing. How is this the same? Please watch the video again for better understanding. We are discussing RPA 1950 only, but just for a small moment, I'll move out of RPA 50 and move to RPA 51. Are we clear? This is correct. This is not RPA 50, it is 51 only. So basically, I just want to tell you the right to vote and where it is located. So all the citizens whose names are entered in the voter list of any constituency shall be entitled to vote in that constituency. Article 326 says that our name will be a part of voter list. This section 62 of RPA says that if your name is in voter list, come on, go and vote. This is the right to vote for every citizen of the country who is a registered voter. Are we clear on this? Now, just to clarify this point here, because some of you may find information on the web otherwise. So let me clarify here on right to vote. Right to vote is a statutory right or a legal right. Why? Because right to vote does not come from the constitution, it comes from RPA, which is a law. And this was said by Supreme Court only in the Kuldeep Nair case, 2006. It is a constitutional bench judgment, 5-judge bench. So far, there has not been a single judgment which has overturned this judgment. So this judgment stands valid. Are we clear? Whether UPSC says something else, whether book says something else, this is the current situation. Now, since I have no control over UPSC's wrong answers, and I have no control over Lakshmikant or NCRT, so I cannot make a change there. I can only tell you a Supreme Court judgment. This is a judgment. This is the correct statement. Are we clear? Now, some confusion can happen with recent newspaper articles. For example, there was a case recently, Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay case of 2023. It is a very old case of 2017. Judgment came finally. In this 3-judge bench, first it's a 3-judge bench. One judge was Chief Justice of India. He made a remark, his personal observation, that right to vote should be a fundamental right. His personal observation. It is not a judgment. Are we clear? Everybody? So, in that recent case, he said that right to vote is a part of your freedom of expression, Article 19. But that was his observation. A single judge cannot change or cancel a constitutional bench's judgment. Number 2, in the Anup Barnwal case also, one question being asked from the court was, is right to vote a constitutional right? Then also 4 judges said yes, it should be a constitutional right, but they very clearly said that we are only expressing our opinion. Since the case is not about right to vote, we cannot give a judgment on this matter. So even till date, the Kuldeep Nair judgment stands valid. Right to vote is a statutory right. I will not take up any question on this whatsoever. I hope I have explained myself very, very clearly. Okay. Mitisha, but sir, you say that only written name in voter list does not mean right to vote. Yes, that's the whole point. That is why this section 62 says to us that if your name is in the voter list, then you get the right to vote. So Article 326 does not give us right to vote. This section 62 of RPA gives us the right to vote. Okay. Now, you are not allowed to vote more than once. Okay. Of course. You're not allowed to vote from multiple constituencies. You can vote only from one constituency in one election. And one more very important thing, you are not allowed to vote if you are under the lawful custody of police. Interesting provision. See, you can be in police, lawful custody of police in 2 ways. What 2 ways? One could be, or one is called police custody. That means lockup. If the police arrests you today and throws you in the police lockup overnight, you are in the police custody, lockup. But there is one more custody which is called judicial custody. Under the custody as ordered by the judge. What is this judicial custody? Don't think that you are kept in judge's home, that CGI's home you are kept there, right? This simply means jail. Who sends you to jail? The judge. That is why people in jail are called or said to be in judicial custody. So if you are in judicial custody, you are not allowed to vote. I am extremely sorry, but this is the reality. Now some of you may say, sir, but they can contest. Yes, they can contest, but they can't vote. Simple. End of story. Very emotional, very traumatic, but that's the reality. So we'll come to the next point now. Disqualification from voting. We are back to our RPA 1950 again. Section 16 of RPA 1950. How can one be disqualified from voting? If you are not a citizen, disqualified. If you are of unsound mind, disqualified. Now see, unsound mind is a very specific category which is given to you by a court. Court declares you of unsound mind. Don't say, sir, I am crazy in love, unsound mind. Can I vote? Of course you can vote. The court has to declare you unsound mind. Clear? And if you are convicted, what is conviction? Held guilty under the following offenses. 171E of IPC. This is the offense of bribery. 171F. This is called impersonation in election. Meaning, what is impersonation in election? When you pretend to be somebody else, that is called impersonation. So, to prevent impersonation, what steps are taken? Two things. Number one, epic. Tell me what is epic. Please tell me what is epic. Any idea? Voter ID card is actually called epic. That is a election photo identification card or photo identity card, right? That is called epic. Are you clear? So people call voter ID card legends epic. You are an aspirant now. Please use epic. Voter ID card's correct name is EPIC. Use epic in your answers everywhere. So I think we have seen this earlier also, that when you go to a polling booth, voter ID card is there, the name is matched with your face. If it matches, good for you. If not, what can? Second thing is indelible ink. What is this indelible ink? People will who go to vote, a silver nitrate compound is AgNO3 is actually put on your finger, the left hand index finger, and that turns black, right? Which is a mark of you voting so that you don't vote again. Clear? One time vote only. It is made by an Indian PSU that is called Mysore Paints and Varnish Limited, based out of Karnataka only. So this is the indelible ink. So all those people who have voted, you would know that on your left hand index finger, there is a mark. Okay, so people show their stained finger as a photograph and on Insta that, oh, I have also been a voter. And if you're a proxy voter, let's say you're voting for somebody else, proxy voter. So a proxy voter can vote for himself or herself also, and can vote for somebody else also. So if, let's say, you are a proxy voter and you're voting for yourself also, then it's allowed to vote twice. Once you vote for yourself, finger is marked. And if you are a proxy voter, then your left hand middle finger is marked. Now, I won't show the finger here for obvious reasons, but understand the next finger is marked. Are we clear on this? Okay. I hope the point is clear. Great. So these two, yes, contestants are allowed to vote. They're also voters, right? Are used to ensure that we have fairness with respect to voting. Then, Section 125, if you are trying to promoting enmity between classes, groups, etc., if you're found to be giving a hate speech, right? Hello? Am I audible, guys? Huh. So if you're found to be giving a hate speech, that would mean promoting enmity. So your voting right can be taken away. For how long? That the commission decides. Section 135. If you try to remove the ballot paper, removing ballot paper. 136. If you try to destroy or tamper with the voting equipment. Voting equipment. So when you go to the polling booth, please don't play with the EVM, press random buttons here and there. Just press one button and go back home. Are we clear? Prem Kumar, yes, of course they can. There is no economic parameter to vote. Clear? What is tamper? So we'll just explain. The class now becomes a word meaning class. Tamper, chhed-chhad, charan. If you try to destroy, right, play around, try to disfigure, spoil the voting equipments, EVMs, etc. Megha, hate speech means any speech which is given which creates hatred in the society. Lakshmi, how to identify a proxy voter? They will carry an application while they go to the polling booth. Now, one more thing, you can also be disqualified from voting if you have been held guilty of a corrupt practice. This corrupt practice is not some random thing. It has a proper definition. We'll discuss this later on under section 123 of RPA 1951. It has a proper definition, right? Things like if you are trying to bribe the voter, if you're trying to bribe the candidate, if you're trying to give hate speech, etc., then your voting right can be taken away. So what you see happening, bribing of voters, rampant, that is actually a violation of RPA, and your voting right can be taken away. For how long? ECI decides. Clear? And finally, lawful custody of the police. Of course, the only exception is PDL. What is PDL? PDL means preventive detention laws. So there are some laws in the country which are called preventive detention laws. These laws are available to detain people, arrest people before they are able to commit a crime. That is called preventive detention. We'll be studying about this in our topic fundamental rights. So when we come to Article 22, I'll explain about them in detail. So people in the custody of police, they cannot vote. Interestingly, they can contest. Are we clear? Can contest, cannot vote. Simple. There are various countries like Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, Spain, Finland, Denmark, Ireland, South Africa, Latvia, Croatia, recently France. All these countries allow even convicts to vote. Convicts, prisoners who are convicted of a crime, they can also vote. But in our country, convicts plus even under trials, no voting right. They can't vote. No, Sardarni, that is not there. Soyab, yes, judicial review is possible. Are we clear? Everybody, now one very important point, disqualification of voting. My request would be mug up all these sections. UPSC has been very obsessed with these voting things. They have in the last 5-6 years asked 3-4 times disqualification from contesting elections. Same kind of section being asked again and again. So they can ask you this also, and we should know these examples. Pula explained the second conviction. This one, but if you pose as somebody else in the election, let's say you go to a polling booth posing as somebody else and then cast a vote, that is a disqualification. Your voting rights can be taken away. Anurag, yes, the number of years depends on election commission. Anum, people and others, please understand, people out on bail, they can vote. People in jail can't vote. Right? How nice. So what is there to explain? Now this section was very much in vogue earlier. There used to be ballot box earlier. Ballot box. Now again, somebody says 0.5. I thought these were pretty easy to understand sections. Let me explain this point once again. In section 135, it simply says, so earlier we did not have EVMs. EVM is a recent phenomenon. So you had a paper where photograph was made of various parties and you had to mark your stamp in front of the concerned photograph. And then put the ballot paper, fold it and put it inside the box. Like you play Raja Mantri Chor Sipahi, same way. Or whatever game you play, right? Now, if I want to, I know that the opposition party is getting too many votes from that polling booth. I'll pour ink inside the ballot box, destroyed all the ballot papers. That is called removing ballot paper or destroying it. If I try to remove ballot paper from inside the ballot box, all these things. And this means if I try to disrupt the machine there, try to bang on it, try to break the machine, pressing multiple buttons, this is called tampering with the voting equipment. Clear? And this one, you will be not allowed to vote for maximum 6 years. The punishment for not voting here can only be maximum 6 years. Clear? It can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years. For not more than 6 years, your voting can be taken away. Are we clear now? Not more than 6 years meaning? This no longer seems to be a polity class. This has become an English class completely. Any person do this kind of work like reviewing ballot paper. Madam, I don't have information on this. Yes, it used to be done earlier a lot. Booth capturing was very common as an activity. People would take the ballot box and run away. It was nothing unique. It used to happen earlier. Okay. So that is all as far as the RPA 1950 was concerned. Now we'll move on to RPA 1951, which deals with largely the conduct of elections and a very, very important element, and that is the disqualification of candidates. People who are contesting election, how can they be disqualified? In fact, recently one very famous popular leader, the most eligible, a very popular leader, he was disqualified originally under this RPA 1951 only. We will come to that section also shortly. First up, qualification. What is the qualification to contest? For Council of States, you have to be an elector. What is the meaning of elector? Voter. For a parliamentary constituency, meaning your name should be in the voter list anywhere in the country. You will be allowed to contest from any state. So a very simple example here is that of the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She belongs to Tamil Nadu. So maybe I'm assuming her name is in the voter list of Tamil Nadu, but she is representing Karnataka in the Rajya Sabha, right? How? Because it does not matter where your name is in the voter list, you can represent any state in the Rajya Sabha. The only condition is your name should be in the voter list of a Lok Sabha constituency anywhere in the country. For the election to Lok Sabha, what's the criteria? Same criteria. Your name should be in the voter list of any constituency. Clear? Everybody? For example, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, his name, I presume, would be in the voter list of, say, Delhi or UP, and he won the elections in Kerala. Or Mr. Narendra Modi, I presume his name would be in the voter list in Gujarat, but he won the election from UP. So, irrespective of your name, anywhere in the country, you are allowed to contest from any other place also. And if you want to contest from an SC/ST seat, it is mandatory that you belong to SC/ST category in the country. Clear? And for those who will say, sir, where is this category? There are two lists or rather orders issued by the government. One is called Constitution SC Order 1950. The other is called Constitution ST Order 1950. These two lists comprise of the names of all the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people in the country. This list is regularly updated. More on this when we study reservations. Then, to be a member of the council, that is the state legislative council, which is there in only 6 states, your name should be in the voter list inside the state. So, for example, if Narendra Modi wants to become an MP, his name in Gujarat is sufficient condition for him to become an MP from Tamil Nadu or in Nagaland. But if he wants to be an MLA or an MLC, then your name has to be in the voter list of that state only. Clear? So MK Stalin, whose name is in the voter list in Tamil Nadu, he cannot become an MLA in Karnataka. He can become an MP from any constituency in Karnataka, but cannot become an MLA from Karnataka. Are we clear? Elector for an assembly constituency in the state, elector for an assembly constituency in the state. And same goes for SC/ST. You should be an SC/ST from that state only. And then there is also this concept of governor's nomination. Please tell me how many seats are nominated for by the governor. Tell me in the council. Time for I thought we'll end on a nice note. It does not seem to be a very nice note. One-sixth, not 12, not 11, not according to population, not one-third, not two-third, one-sixth of the total number of seats in the assembly. One-third for MLAs, one-third for local bodies, 1/12 for graduates, 1/12 for teachers, one-sixth for governor. If you want to be eligible for governor's nomination, then you should be an ordinary resident in the state. Clear? That's it. These are the qualifications. Now coming to disqualifications. As far as this is concerned, we'll discuss this on Monday. Let's end our discussion here only. We'll see on Monday how our innocent MPs, MLAs can be disqualified, or how somebody can be disqualified from contesting elections. Clear? That is all as far as today's class is concerned. Jai Hind. Leaderboard has no point now because I took some polls. It will not reflect the toppers list. Prabjot, Article 326 says that if I have become 18 years of age and otherwise not disqualified, then I have a right to be a part of voter list. That's it. Right to vote 1951. Pooja, sir, how the innocent if they're disqualified? Just like how you are innocent for asking such innocent questions. Exactly the same. Situation is very weird here. I have to explain criticism or sarcasm also. How will we survive this harsh life? Okay. Just to quickly give you the task because it's 2 days of leave. PPTs. Take the weekly test. Your monthly magazine. Yojana Kurukshetra. Then the PYQ. Please write the answer. Political theory and editorials. Please follow this. Okay. Venu, it is just revision. Rohit will discuss in next class. Ghulam Mustafa, you can, if you find some very interesting statement, you can copy that in your notes. That's it. Pooja, as of now, Supreme Court judge. Once a bill is passed, then the cabinet secretary. Great, Lakshmi. Any more queries? Roshan, which year Yojana Kurukshetra, sir? Current year Yojana Kurukshetra. Dvaipayan, they may not. What's the full form of this, Sankadweep? Yes, Kumari. Abhishek, specific motions is important. Generic motions not important. Ignore it. Basanti, you have chapters 71, 72, 73, 74 in Lakshmikant, which deal with all these election provisions. You can see those chapters. Person arrested under preventive detention can vote, Satyendra. So he is exempted from this disqualification. They can vote. Section 16 of RPA talk about the idea that if you are not a citizen or you are crazy or you have been punished by a court for certain offenses, you will not be allowed to vote. Your voting right is taken away for as long as the commission decides. Madam, it is for the entire campaign period. Why only for a small area? Yes, yes, Barkat. I think you should make with Vani. Then Yeshi, take down running notes. Right? Okay, guys, that's watch the recordings, no problem, of the classes. That is all as far as no puja. We'll take some more classes. Don't worry. That's all as far as our discussion is concerned. Let's meet on Monday. Till then, that is all for me. Jai Hind.